all?
Yeah, no, everybody's fine. Everybody's well. Darmish, we've had a good few days training, and yeah, we're looking forward to the game tomorrow. Everybody's good.
Darren, the task looks, probably the word is improbable. Have you found it difficult to convince your players, maybe even yourself, that it's still possible?
Yeah, what we've just done, Darmish, is first things first. Is obviously the first leg was by no means an ideal scoreline, but it is, and what's happened. What we've done is got together as a group and continued to work like we've done all season. And what we're just looking at, Dartmouth, with the game is we've got a game in front of our home crowd, a packed Hillsborough, and we just want to go and win the game like we have done in the previous league games that we've played up till now. So we just want to go and win the game, and then as we go with that mindset and mentality, we'll see what happens in the game. Because as we know, football's football, as you know, and that's got to be our mindset and mentality.
I know you've been told this many times, and it's been a record-breaking season with regard to the points for Sheffield Wednesday. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, in your own mind, do you want to go again with this club next season?
Absolutely, 100. I mean, it's absolute 100%, without a doubt. Darmish, it's a wonderful club. It's a beautiful club. It's got a wonderful, passionate fan base. And when you see the fan base, you understand the magnitude of this football club. And this football club is to be embraced in the history, in the nostalgia of the football club and what it stands for in the pyramid of football. And to be a manager of this football club, it's an absolute honour. And that's why, I've always gone about my business and gone about my job working tirelessly for this football club and moving them forward. And over the 2 seasons, there's been significant changes in the club, in and around it and off the pitch, and we continue to work on that. But I've got a real love and affection for this football club because the tremendous fan base it has, and what a wonderful club it's been.
Have there been any discussions, or is that going to wait till the end of the season with the club with regard to that?
Yeah, no, nothing like that. I mean, we're just focusing on the game.
Just last couple from me, Darren. I mean, the club has condemned the racist abuse you received online following the first leg. Firstly, how are you regarding that? And were you shocked by the abuse?
Yeah, no, first, I'm fine. What I'm going to say is thank you to all the supporting messages that have come in. I've been absolutely overwhelmed by the support. So thank you so much to friends, to fans, not just fans here at Sheffield Wednesday, all over really. So first things first, I want to say thank you personally to everybody. And then secondly is, obviously we know today in society that we're trying to help to clean up this side of it. What we have, Darmish, is the individuals have been spotted, identified. We know who they are, and we're leaving it down to the local and governing authorities to deal with. They've got it all in hand, and that's where the matter is really. So that's where it is. We understand it's where social media's come into it and played a large part in it, but we're doing all we can in trying to stamp and eradicate it as best as we can.
The way you're talking, Darren, you're almost not surprised that it continues to happen. Is it a sad state when we're not surprised when racism rears its head again?
Yeah, I don't think we're not surprised with it. I think what we are is with a lot of the media attention and scope that's out there now, we know that messages can come through, but at an alarming rate. What we are doing, we've got procedures now in place, which is good to know, and know those procedures are taking place now with the incidents. What's happened here now, as I said, we've been contacted here. We know who they are, and they've been dealt with really, which is that's all we can do and continue to move forward.
Just finally, from me, Darren, you're one now of just a handful of black managers in the English Football League, and I know you've been asked this question and bombarded with this question many, many times. But do you feel? I just want to ask you in a different way. Do you feel the black managers are judged differently when they are in a job compared to non-black managers?
Well, first things first, I'd hope that's not the case, because obviously from the equality purposes, we just want to be treated like all managers right across the board. I suppose the reason why you're asking that question, Dharmesh, is because maybe the stats and figures that you looked at would suggest for you to ask that question. It's probably something that I've not looked at, but I can only hope that is not looked upon in that sense. But I can understand why you're asking the question, because of the facts and figures that you've researched, really. So hopefully that's not the case. And as I said, today on both aspects, in terms of on the footballing aspect, and certainly off the field with what's happened over the last few days, I've certainly had the good support from all round, really, the game of football, in supporting me both in the football sense and on a personal sense.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Cheers, Dharmesh. Good to see you.
Hi Darren, how are you?
Arif, you okay?
Yeah, good, thanks. Do you think it's too easy to do this sort of thing online? To just to be able to make an account, or with an account, just put this racist abuse out to whoever and whenever you want?
Yeah, it would seem that way. That the sort of perpetrators can create these anonymous accounts and go from there. But I do know that the governing bodies are working really, really hard in locating and shutting these things down. And again, certainly as football clubs and people within the game that are in the social spotlight, we're trying to work hard to shut these down on all levels, really. So at the moment it's probably too easy, but we are doing extremely good work to try and shut this down.
Do you think things will change? Do you think it will change? Because it seems to be the same cycle every time. Someone can post something out, we say, we notice it, we talk about it rightly, but little action is taken by social media companies or whatever. So it just seems that cycle, but nothing really seems to happen at the end of it.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of work to be done, because again, it's something that it's a problem now that's raised its head, and we want to talk about the social network platforms being a positive and not talked about as a negative in terms of what they can put out there. And that's what we're trying to work hard towards, and we're trying to promote those positive messages for the next generation of our children coming through, that those social network platforms should be used for a positive instead of a negative content.
And just finally on this, are you proud that the fact the way the club's handled it, it's been seen, people spotted it, people condemned it and shut it down very quickly? Absolutely,
and I just thank the club for standing with me. I mean, again, it's something for me that I didn't see on media, but obviously we've got people here at the football club that keep a real sharp eye on that, not just for me, but for the players and everything else. And it was spotted, as I said, the club's worked closely with some of the footballing governing bodies to spot and identify the perpetrators, and have acted really, really sharp on it. So, we're doing our bit as best as we can, and working with the authorities to try and help to combat this.
When did you first hear about it, and did someone at the club make you aware of it?
Yeah, we got a good media team here, and I was notified instantly from the media guys.
How did you feel did you read it? Did they tell you what was
No, I didn't read it, because again, Arif, that's for me, it's looking back, and it's just you spending energy on something that doesn't need your energy on, really. So I just got told about it, and I thought, okay, the club notified me that the individual was contacted, spoken to, the governing bodies, authorities are involved, and I've just let them take course of action with what will happen there, and me being the manager here is just focusing on and concentrating on the football.
Yeah. We spoke after Friday night, and you said it was difficult then to know what you'd be saying to the players to pick them up. What have you been saying to them to lift the spirits?
Yeah, no, it's what's happened. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can change on the matter. We've got the second game coming up. We're at home. We got a packed Hillsborough down at the S6. The big thing for me, which I said to the players, was the most important cog in this is the fans. Arif, the fans, no matter what, of the last 20, 30, 40 years, one thing what's been consistent at this football club is the fans. And the supporters will come and support Sheffield Wednesday, whatever teams put out, through thick and thin. And I said they are there waiting at the S6 in a packed house, full house, and they'll be cheering and willing you on right from the word go. So I said, really, they will be the 12th man. They will be the energy for you, really. And I said, you have to be buoyed by that they're willing and driving you on. And even at this stage, they're really, really supporting you. So, and that's exactly what I've said to them all week, really. And that's how we've been working and sort of getting the cogs and the wheels into motion this week in terms of making sure that we've trained properly, we're detailed with our work, and we're ready for the game tomorrow.
Do you owe them a performance after last week?
Absolutely. You always owe them a performance, irrespective of what you've done before, because it's the next opponents and it's the next performance where you get to put in. So without a doubt, you want a performance, because that's what we drive it every single day and every single week, in terms of you want to perform well, and that's no different with tomorrow.
And so we touched on you need to come back of all combats, really. And how important will a fast start be in that?
Yeah, listen, the game is what it is. We're just, from our point of view, Arif, we're just making sure that we're well prepared, and we just want to look to try, and we're at home. So the first thing in our mindset is we were at home again. We've set a real good home record, and we want to try and continue that with a good performance and look to just win the game. In regards to the game and talking how it's going to go, we know football, and football's football, and we can never predict with football, but what we are trying to do is go in with our mindset and mentality to go and try and win the game.
And just finally, if you don't turn this around, how hard will that be to take, given the season that you have had? It's been an incredible season, but if it was to end tomorrow, how hard would that be to take?
Arif, I mean, again, let's just get the game over and done with, and then we'll focus our energies on that. My energies now is just talking about the game here and now, and just keeping our sights focused on that.
Top man, good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Hi, Darren. You're right. I suppose just to kind of go back to the debrief element of the match last week, as Arif just mentioned there, that this team have accrued 96 points. They've had some thrilling victories this year. Analysis in the aftermath of what happened at London Road was tough last week. So you've had time to think about it. Why was it just so wrong? How did it go so wrong?
Yeah, looking back at it, we understand football's football. We understand when you look back and analyse the game, we saw that there was chances for both teams in it. Number one, obviously, they took their chances, and we just didn't take our chances. Had the chances have gone in how they should have gone in based on the chances, then we'd have scored equally, if not more, goals than what they did, but we never, and that was it. And on another occasion we score, Andy. On this occasion we didn't score, and I suppose we looked at the sort of the first, second and the third goal. I didn't realise till afterward the reflection that it looked like the boy was offside. So on the third goal, so a lot of things when you look back on it and you analyse, and that's why I spoke at the time. I said my words can't comprehend really at the time, and sometimes when you step back you're able to sort of look at the situation in more detail and go, okay, we looked at it was a bad night at the office, call it whatever you want, and I suppose when the third goal went in, the game sort of stretched away from us really, and I suppose that's when sort of things that was happening then really we didn't really want to happen, but they did. So we dust ourselves down again now. We've trained, reset, refocused. As I said, you know, to Arif just then, we're really looking forward to the game because we've got a packed S6 there. We know that, John Hemmington will be up there with the band up in the Cop, revving the fans up, packed full house. Andy, I want to say that since I've been out in Sheffield over the last 3 or 4 days, the support from the Sheffield Wednesday fans to me personally out there in regards to this game has been nothing but phenomenal. And I want to just say thank you to all those that have seen me out in the public. And as I said, the support's really much appreciated.
And, well, there's 2 elements to winning the game, isn't there? So there's being victorious and turning Peterborough over. And there is also maybe trying to instigate some kind of footballing miracle. How do you approach the scenario then?
Yeah, I think for that, and it's a great question. I think the first things first is try and win the game. I don't think you can approach because football's football, and I think our mindset and mentality is we're at home, so we've had a fantastic home record all season, and we've always gone with that mindset and mentalities that to try and win the game and go and win the game. That's always been our metaphor, and that won't change tomorrow. As we know, as the game goes on, football can play its own way, as we know, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. As regards to me telling you detail what's going to happen, I couldn't tell you how the game's going to happen in moments in the game tomorrow, but what we are doing is going with that mindset.
Because there's this idea of, well, throwing caution to the wind, I suppose. There's not a great deal to lose from here on in from Sheffield Wednesday's perspective.
Correct again, Andy. I mean, we all know what the outcome, and we all know what's needed tomorrow. So I think that's evident for all. But as I said, for us, it's keeping that mindset focus really on, in terms of the home record that we've set this season, in trying to continue that and going with that mindset and mentality. And as I said, when Hillsborough's in full voice, there's not much better grounds you want to be playing your football in, and certainly that's the sort of the main message really, Andy, for here is really for the supporters to come out and like you have done all season, and be that 12th man, be loud and get behind the players, because it's a message from myself and the players here going forward.
What do you know about Peterborough now to maybe negate their threats that maybe you didn't know or weren't apparent prior to the game the other day?
Yeah, no, we know that they carry a potent threat up top. And we know they're a good footballing team. They've got a real good experienced manager that knows their way around here, the league. And they're in form at the moment, so we look forward to it. But again, we see the work in terms of what they're about and what they've done. And as I said, we know in both departments, in defending and attacking, we're going to have to be really good to beat a really good team coming into town tomorrow. But as I said, that's our mindset for the game tomorrow.
How much maybe do players believe they're playing for their futures at Sheffield Wednesday? Because whatever happens, there's going to be some kind of changes in whatever division you end up in.
Yeah, but I don't think the players are thinking that, Andy. I can say now that the players are just focused on the game. We've not had no talk at all throughout the season up until now. What we are just doing is focusing on the game, and that I can speak on behalf of all the players about their mindset and mentality, that not a word's been discussed with that. So we see that time after the season finishes, and when that draws to a close, then we can have those conversations. Up until now, I think our mindset and focus is on this game tomorrow.
Best of luck.
Cheers, Andy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Afternoon, Darren. How are you doing?
Yeah, afternoon, Joe.
I know you don't like looking back too much, but I just wanted to ask, what was the atmosphere like on the team bus on the way back from Peterborough? Because I know you said in the changing room it takes a little bit of time to compete. Obviously, you've got that trip back. What was it like on that bus?
Yeah, a bit quiet and subdued, as you can imagine, Joe. And I think a time of reflection, and I think it was right to have that time of reflection, really. And sort of when you have that time of reflection and a day or two passes by, you realise that you can't look back anymore. It's about looking forward. And I think that's been it really. And the best thing you can do with moments like this is get back on the training ground, because you're able to sort of energise yourself by training. And that's what we felt from the players, and that's what's certainly gone on about this week really. So that time back then was a time of reflection, so it was quite quiet.
I was going to ask that. What has the response been on the training ground? Did you have to sort of sit them all down on that first day back, or like how have you handled the sort of the days that followed?
No, what we just done was we just had a look back at the game, and we spoke in the classroom, and then once you get on the training ground, it's about that forward momentum and that forward movement, and making sure that the training's up to detail in terms of what you want to get out of it in the time that you've got before the game. And that's exactly what we've done. And of course the mindset of the players and the mentality of the players is a lot more fresher now in terms of looking forward to the game tomorrow.
How much of this one is mental? Obviously, Wednesday have scored 4+ goals on numerous occasions this season. Peterborough have conceded enough for you to get back into this. Is it a large part of your job now, aside from obviously the normal tactical and training work that you do, is a big part of it sort of just instilling that belief in them that this is a job that is, unlike what a lot of people think, is not impossible?
Yeah, because it's football, and we know what football can do. But I think for our purposes, it's sort of getting back to those basics in terms of training, making sure that we're right, and also the game approach tomorrow is one of that. We've over the course of the season, we've shown good consistent form at the S6, and we're going to have to do it again tomorrow night. And I think that's the bit where we're sort of buoyed by that really tomorrow. And as I said before, Joe, for me, the special really component in this and the cog is the supporters. We've got a tremendous fan base that's played its part over the course of the season, and it's them what set the record that I believe that we've had this season at home, because of their passionate support base. It's great to hear, there'll be 33,000 in there tomorrow, and I'm really, really encouraged and buoyed by that. And that was the one consistent after the game we spoke about, that coming back to Hillsborough, that it would be a full house up there or near capacity, and I'm just grateful to the supporters, and my message has always been clear to them, is to continue doing what you're doing, because be that 12th man, be in full voice, come there tomorrow and really cheer this team on, when really this is the sort of your last game at the S6 for this campaign. So come and make it a real loud and hot reception, because it's greatly received really tomorrow. So I'm grateful for that.
Andy was saying there about, nothing to lose and that mentality in the side, but you've also, I suppose, it's not as simple as just going gung-ho, is it? Because you've got to still be in a position that, it's no good winning, so it's no good scoring 4 goals if you then concede 2. So have you got to try and balance that sort of, obviously everybody wants the team to go from the first whistle, but how important is that back line going to be in making sure that even with you pushing on, you're not letting things slip at the back?
Yeah, and that's what we spoke about, making sure that, our mindset and mentality is to just go and win the game. And I think that's the bit what I've spoken about, Joe, that you've alluded to in your question there. And it's just making sure that we're right, but like we're going into the game, like we've gone into the previous fixtures at Hillsborough, in preparation, in our mindset and mentality to, over the course of it, try and win the game. And I think that's been the focus on it. All the bits and pieces, trying to second guess this or second guess that, or talking, I don't think you can do that, because sometimes in football the dynamics of the game just doesn't allow you to do that. So I think if you go with those simple basics, it gives you a platform to build from the game, and I think that's what we're just trying to do.
Brilliant. And have you spoken to the chairman? I know you speak to him regularly, but have you spoken to him about what happened on Friday night?
Yeah, we've had a good chat about it. And we've spoken about the game, because obviously he was there watching it live, so he saw it for himself in terms of how the game ebbed and flowed. And yeah, he's like ourselves, was obviously disappointed in it, but now he's very much just looking forward to this game, and sent positive energies to the group, to the players, to the staff, which is great, and so he's leading from the front.
Brilliant. So he's still confident that you can pull off a big result this week.
Yeah, as I said to you, Joe, we just want to we look to win the game and continue that, and that's what we've shown over this season, and that's going to have to be more of the same again tomorrow.
Brilliant. Just lastly from me, fans have noticed there's been like a blackout of sorts with the players. We haven't spoken to players in pre-match press conferences. There's been nothing on social media. Has that been almost a directive from yourself? Have you decided that you would rather shoulder all the responsibility for that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think what I've just wanted to do, Joe, is just keep the players focused really on the games. And I think that's what it is really, is just channeling all their energies into the game and keeping focus on the games. The fans and loyal support base to them will always be there, and that they'll engage back again with them. But I just thought for these closing games was really just keeping focused and keeping our mindset on the games really, and that's been just the sole purpose on it. But as I said, when it all concludes then obviously you can get back to it and they can catch up with all the fans. Do you think that
outside noise does affect them in terms of not just the fans, but also us as well, the questions we ask and sort of the way that the light is shone on them when they come and speak to us?
Yeah, and probably not overthinking things too much. I think that's the big thing with them really. I think it's great as well, players doing the media training and everything else. I think it's excellent that supporters can get to understand their characters as well. But certainly, and it's something that I embrace at the football club. I like it. I think it's great. It's a two-way. But just in the last probably couple of weeks, we've probably just said just to keep them focused and the mindset on the jobs really, which is on the pitch.
Brilliant. All the best, Darren. I'll see you down there tomorrow.
Cheers. Thanks.
Darren, how you doing? You okay?
Yeah. Afternoon, Alex.
I know you sort of touched on it before, but it feels from the outside looking in, the first 10-15 minutes could be really important given the magnitude of the scoreline and making Hillsborough, bounce is the wrong word, but hostile for Peterborough and all the rest of it. How much focus have you put into that?
Yeah, no, I just think when you look back at what we've done is over the course of this season, certainly at Hillsborough, is that the hostile or the passionate support base has been there. That's been a consistent, and that's been driven by the supporters really, in terms of that, because we're a passionate club. And the supporters are very passionate and love their football and support their team through thick and thin. So that's been absolutely evident. And tomorrow, Alex, I expect no different. I expect the supporters to come up and right from the word go, they'll be in full voice because they've been that consistent all season. And that's what's helped us, I think, as well. Presented like sort of the record over the course of the season, because the fans have been that 12th man. And that's going to be there tomorrow. So I expect no different tomorrow from the supporters. It's just making sure that our mindset and mentality is always as it has been. Certainly, if we speak at home at Hillsborough as a sole entity, we've shown levels of that really, and I think we're going to show that again tomorrow.
No point kidding each other. If it gets to half an hour, certainly to half time, and the performance hasn't been sparkling, if Wednesday haven't scored or whatever, it may well be a case that there's certainly nervousness or frustration that maybe comes from the terraces. What's your message to the fans on potentially staying patient, and also to the players in terms of giving the fans plenty to stand up and shout about?
Yeah, on both aspects really. The first thing would be with the supporters is and I speak on behalf, and we've spoken in training with the players, and we've spoken as a group with our supporters, and myself and the skipper Baz have spoken about the level of support that is there, and how important they are. So that's number one. And in terms of depending on how the game goes tomorrow, we don't know, because football's football, and I can't sort of speak about things that I can't foresee in terms of how the game's going to go. But one thing what I have always maintained in that mentality and culture is that real togetherness that the supporters and the team have shown, and it's probably been the proudest part of myself as a manager, and certainly speaking to Barry Bandon as the captain in terms of how that, you know, and the longer serving players like Liam Palmer, how that has sort of come together. And you know, them boys have been here for a long time, so they know what they're talking about. And that's the bit really that, you know, we want the supporters to continue to do no matter what. And as I said to you before, Alex, they've been here and will continue to be here through thick and thin. However, wherever this club is, they will be there in their numbers supporting it, because it's their club and they're passionate about it. And I've certainly felt their passion managing this football club. So that's a consistent, I'll say, there. The other one is yeah, for the players on the pitch. You know, they're the professionals. They're the ones what's in the arena. They're the ones what's on the pitch. They're the ones across the white line, and they're the ones that are going to feel the temperature of the game, and in terms of how it's ebbing and flowing, and what's needed at that time. They're professional enough. They're experienced enough to know those circumstances, and it's keeping the heads in the situations throughout the game and maintaining that, Alex.
We've spoken a lot over the last couple of years about the expectation levels at Wednesday and the players maybe feeling that. It's a different thing now, isn't it? Because you're not the chase. You know that you're in a position where 9 times out of 10, you know, Wednesday don't go through. Does that change the mentality of the piece?
I think for this, the mentality is that first and foremost we want the performance. I think that's the main, because to win any game you need the performance. So I think that's the first thing and foremost. And yeah, the situation is what it is, because we knew what happened in the first leg, and there's nothing nobody can do to change that. So the mindset and mentality to go into the game is just that, really, is to make sure that the performance is right, and the mentality is to go and win the game. I think that's the thing, because we're at home, because we're in front of our fans, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we've always driven to do, certainly when we've been at home. So we see no different tomorrow.
Does it uncomplicate things a little bit in terms of how you set up? Is it a case of getting all your goal scorers on the pitch and you know, throwing caution to the wind in terms of your setup, or how mindful are you of keeping the back door shut as well?
Yeah, there's both those elements, both them elements, Alex, in terms of that, because that's what you want to do, is keep the back door shut, because by keeping the back door shut and working from a clean sheet, it gives you the chance of winning the game. So there's that element as well as elements of wanting to win the game. So you're trying to get the tactical balance right, but you're always doing that with every single league game or cup game that you're playing. So there's no different again tomorrow. I suppose the icing on the cake is because of the aggregate score in terms of where it's at, why it is, but we all know where we are, and we know where the game is at, and we know that in order to win the game, we know we got to perform well.
You tasted a playoff comeback a few years ago when you were at Torquay with the Preston North End, so you know sort of how that pressure can mount in a second leg. Has that been in your thoughts at all? You're a young player, I understanding that.
Yeah, I remember it still vividly, like it was yesterday, really, and yeah, it can be, and you know, that's why, you know, at Hillsborough the crowds would be double that. So, you know, and I've witnessed Hillsborough in when it's in full voice, and I love it. And you know, tomorrow night again, we'll experience that again from the supporters, and credit to them. And the reason why I speak like this, Alex, is they've really energised me this week as well in the public. Honestly, I've seen so many people out there that are all Wednesdayites, and they've really encouraged me and driven it, really. And even here at the academy, some of the parents, you know, with the younger kids, when we come out of office late in the evening, they've been absolutely tremendous, as some of the academy staff and the staffing around here, because they're all Wednesdayites, really. So all those coupled into one really has really energized us this week, and that's why I'm on here, and the message has been clear to the supporters is keep doing and keep going in terms of what you've been doing. You've been tremendous, and we need another big push again tomorrow night.
It may well be the last game for Sheffield Wednesday for a few of the players. There's a few with contracts decisions to be made and all the rest of it. Are any of them sort of aware that may be the case, and will get their chance to sort of say goodbye? Or
yeah, but we've not spoken about it, Alex, because we've always tried to focus on making sure that we're putting our energies in, and that's been a consistent, and you know, the players and we've known that as a group really from the start, and that's no different now, even at this stage. So we feel there's enough time to speak about that outside and after that, and we will do. Up until now, the most important thing is the game tomorrow evening.
Certainly is. Thanks for that, Darren. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Thanks, Alex. Cheers.
Hi, Darren. You okay?
Yeah, afternoon, Ricky.
Afternoon. Obviously, there'll be quite a few fans you would expect that have bought tickets and maybe thinking of not going tomorrow. What would your message be to them fans?
No. If I could put this message out now, is no, please rethink. Please get down to the S6 tomorrow evening. Please, we need you tomorrow. So please don't think that, I'll go home and sit in my armchair and watch it there, because we need you effectively in the stadium. And I speak on behalf of myself and the group of players. When I came on here, I said I'd be speaking directly to the supporters, and that's exactly what I'm saying here. So if that's the case, I'm thankful that you have said it, Ricky, because I can send this message personally to those who are thinking that we need you at the stadium. So please, we'll see you there tomorrow evening.
You mentioned there about obviously having like a mini debrief, if you like, over the weekend. Were there angry words like from the players within themselves? They've been quite vocal. You know, I can imagine there'd be quite a few strong opinions after that performance.
Correct, yeah, and rightly so, because you know they're an experienced group, and I don't think anybody needs to tell them really in terms of it. So you know, as individuals, yeah, there were some strong words said amongst themselves, but as a manager, I wouldn't expect any different, because it shows a level of care from them really. And of course, them strong words will stay here, but there was words spoken.
And in training, obviously, the last few days, have you seen that hunger and that desire to right a wrong? Yes,
yeah, and that's been the best thing you can do after that, is to get back on the training ground. I think once you've had your debrief in the classroom, it's just getting back on the training ground and getting back to work.
I was going to say tomorrow, I mean, you know, it's cliche, it's obvious, but that first goal, if you can get that first goal, you know, obviously ideally early doors, but that'll help hopefully surge the crowd, won't it? Because, you know, and maybe unsettle Peterborough as well.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are possibilities because the game of football. But as I said, for us, it's maintaining that focus really, and I think that mindset and focus that we've had over the course of the season, we have to maintain that. And I keep, you know, sort of speaking about it, because that's what it's gonna take. We need first and foremost a real good performance, like as I've said, and then you know the rest will take care of itself. But in terms of football being football, it's such an unpredictable industry and business that you know. But the mindset is always on that focus, is to make sure that we perform and try and win.
Something that Alex just touched on there about, you know, players out of contracts. I know Barry triggered a clause, didn't he, a few months back. Are there other players who have also done that, who have triggered clauses that haven't been announced as of yet?
Yeah, there may be another one, but again, you know, we in terms of me speaking here now, Ricky, we wouldn't want to talk on that, because we just want to focus on the game. The right time will come for me to speak to you all on that, and I will do happily, you know that. But now it's just focusing on the game.
And just lastly, I just wanted to ask on David Downs. I know a few weeks since, you know, a few rumours knocking about him. Is there any update on that situation? I know you said you were going to have talks with him and the chairman and yourself.
Yeah, but there's been no updates at the moment because I've not had another discussion with David and the chairman, because as you can understand, because of the situation we're in with the football, Ricky, we've sort of put that on the back burner for now, so we can focus on the game.
Cheers. Good luck tomorrow, Dan.
Thanks, Ricky. Cheers.
Hello, Darren. Hi, mate. You okay?
How you, Leon? You okay?
No, not so bad. I was just wondering, you must feel like it's a bit us against the world at the minute.
Yeah, it can seem that way. It certainly felt that way after the game, which you understand, Leon. You know, you understand from the external emotional context of the game. You can understand that, but obviously internally we've had to sort of bunker in and stay together. But as I said, when I've been out in the week, I must say thank you so much to all the Wednesday fans.
Yeah.
And the messages that they've given out within the community when they've seen us about, and really credit, like, you know, and, you know, even yesterday I was heading on my way home and there was some workmen on the road, and, you know, they happened to see me, and they were fantastic. So you're energized by that, really, and I'm really grateful for them. And as I said, now we get back down to business tomorrow, and we go from there.
And to be fair, you fans, I remember when I did the Shrewsbury game. You missed out on second, and they didn't feel sorry for themselves that day. And they were absolutely tremendous. And you know, I'm sure they'll show themselves in the right colours and right way on Thursday.
Yes, and that's where we speak about that game and the energy that they gave, and that's where, you know, we know down at Hillsborough, and we know the energy what the crowd can bring there, really. And as I said, you know, we're looking forward to be going there tomorrow at home. And as I said, you know, it's a place that we like playing in front of our home crowd. And as I said, we got that opportunity tomorrow.
Was there a little bit finally an element, obviously with the players not speaking? You obviously after the game at Peterborough, I suppose if they speak or not, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, aren't they? Really, if they do speak, some people will give them stick, and if they don't speak, people will say, "Why are you talking?" There's a bit of that, isn't there? Really?
Yeah, but for me, it's just you know, the speaking on behalf of them, looking back, is the energy, the expenditure, energy on it. For me, it's just looking forward. So the boys just wanted looking forward, because what's happened, and looking back is not going to serve a purpose in terms of that. Yes, you have to look back in terms of debriefing to go forward, but once you've debriefed to go forward, it has to be on that forward content and movement, really, and that's what we've tried to do in terms of going forward. And that's why, you know, there's probably been not that talking element, not because they don't want to talk, it's just to keep that focus going forward.
Best of luck, mate, as ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. Cheers.
Is that everyone, guys?